Fish in a Tree, chapters 25 to 27. Chapter 25. Celebration or Devastation. Mr. Daniels is wearing a tie with little trophies on it. Also, he has a goofy smile on his face. Even goofier than most days. Okay, my Fantasticos, there is one among you who is even more fantastic than usual, and that's hard to do. So we are going to celebrate. You see, when you all wrote those nature poems the other day, you had been secretly entered in, he puts his arms up and raises his voice, the first annual Fantastico Poetry Award. Oh great, another thing for Shay to brag about. I look over at Albert and hope he will win instead. He's hoping so too. I can tell by how he pulls his chair in, more like he's getting ready. I think that Suki has a good shot as well. So, Mr. Daniels begins, this poem is a splendid surprise. Great work, and I am very happy to give the first annual Fantastico Poetry Award to... I watch Shay out of the corner of my eye. If she wins, we'll never hear the end of it. What she does doesn't make sense. She shows surprise, but it's followed by disgust. Mr. Daniels' hand on my shoulder makes me jump. Congratulations, Allie, Mr. Daniels says. This can't be. It's too early for April Fool's Day. I look over at Albert and Keisha, wondering if they put a poem in with my name. Mr. Daniels takes a step back and says, Come on, come claim your prize. Prize? I swallow hard. Mr. Daniels stands in front of the room, waving me up. Well, what are you waiting for? I stand up and walk toward him like the floor will swallow me up. I turn towards the class, and he puts his hand on my shoulder. He holds the poem in his hand. I look and see it is actually mine. Maybe I was just having a good day. I mean, it's about time I have a good day for once, right? Happiness seeps in. Have I really won an award? The thought of that would have been something for my sketchbook of impossible things before now. Me. So, Allie is our first poetry winner for her piece entitled Rain, Rain. He turns to me. Do you want to read it, or shall I? The paper crinkles in my hand. I'll read it, I say, happy that I have memorized it. Rain, rain, falling down, down, down on the ground. All the birds go in the trees. They don't like the rain, you see. It doesn't take long to say, but it took me a long time to write. But now it's all worth it. There is silence until Mr. Daniels motions to everyone to applaud. Albert and Keisha clap loudest. Mr. Daniels motions again, and the applause gets louder. Oliver slaps his desk until Mr. Daniels, pulling on his ear, calms him down. Looking out over the class, I remember some of the other poems I heard people working on. Really good poems. And then the whole thing hits me. I finally get it. Mr. Daniels holds out a certificate with fancy letters and swirls around the edges. He also holds a coupon for free ice cream in the cafeteria. I think how happy Albert would be if I gave that to him. But I can't reach out and take them. I look up into his face. He smiles and then he winks. I look out over my classmates who have stopped clapping. Shay has pressed her mouth into a flat line. Most glance at each other with knowing looks. They all know, but I figure I don't. This isn't a poetry award. This is a pity award. I look up at Mr. Daniels, who gave me a serious nod as if to say, Go ahead, take it, they don't know. Getting an award for not being smart enough to deserve it is the worst feeling I've ever felt. Like getting the certificate is going to make me pat myself on the back and somehow transform into a different person. I swear I'll never accept an award that I don't deserve. Never. Keisha calls my name as I run from the room. Chapter 26. Stalling. I run into the bathroom and hide in the stall at the end. I stand pressing myself up against the wall, embarrassed and humiliated and never wanting to go back. The door opens and someone comes in. You okay? Keisha asks. No, I'm not. You won an award. Who in the world runs from an award? I'd think you'd be happy. I didn't win for real. What are you talking about? She asks. Of course you did. I was there. No, trust me, I didn't. He's just trying to be nice. Why don't you come out of there? You don't understand. Just go away. You're right, Allie. I don't understand. I don't know why you're mad about an award. I feel so much worse than just mad. Look, I say. When you get on your bike, don't you expect it to hold you up, not fall apart when you pedal? Yeah? So what? Imagine if every single time you got on your bike, you had to worry that the wheels would come off. And every time you ride, they do. But you still have to ride every day. And then you have to watch everyone Then you have to watch everyone watch you as the bike goes to pieces underneath you, with everyone thinking that it's your fault and you're the worst bike rider in the world. Why in the world are you talking about bikes and wheels coming off? My brain, I say, leaning my forehead against the cold wall. My brain will never do what I want it to. Come on, it's not like your brain is broken, so you're not the best speller. So what? Your brain seems fine to me. You don't understand what it's like to be different than everyone else. Wait, have you noticed how different I look than everyone else in our class? It's not the same. Look, you're my friend, the best friend I have here. If you want to say things like that and make it hard to be your friend, then, well, I'll just wait for you to come to your senses. Oh. You're talking like a fool saying I don't understand what it's like to be different is. But the thing is, I'm only different to people who can see with the wrong eyes. And I don't care what people like that think. I laugh a little. Albert says the problem is that white people don't have enough melanin. He says that's the thing that makes human skin darker. Well, that boy is bonkers, but he is a smart one, she sounds happy. Now, come on out. I lean against the wall for a minute because it's easier to say my next thing without seeing anyone. It comes from a place so deep inside, it's like coming out of the ground. I just want to fit in for once. I mean, I really do. I just want to be the same as everyone else. Keisha doesn't answer for a while. Look, you don't fit in, I don't fit in, Albert doesn't fit in either. Who says who fits in anyway? People like Shay? That girl is just mean. Who cares what she thinks? The stall door is still closed, but I smile as I imagine Keisha's expression. I'm lucky to have her. Come on, Allie. Who wants to fit in with people like Shay and her worse-than-awful friends? Thankfully, we'll never fit in with people like that. Keisha laughs again. One thing's for sure. We're not going to fit in, but we're going to stand out. All three of us. You wait and see. You're going to be a famous artist, and Albert is going to cure cancer or invent talking fish or something. Talking fish? What would they say? Please don't fry me? I push open the door, and her face is just like I imagine. And you're going to have a big baking business, right? Maybe in my spare time. I'm also going to rule the world. I laugh, then swallow hard. Thanks for being my friend, Keisha. Don't go thanking me for that. Thank me for this. I'm going to tell Shay she has a spot on the back of her fancy riding jacket so we can watch her try to look. Then we can eat ice cream that you won. Chapter 27. Half-baked afternoon. Keisha invites Albert and me over to her house for a surprise. When I arrive, Albert is already there and Keisha is wearing a baker's hat and apron. So when do we eat? Albert asks. No free ride here, Albert. We have to cook first, Keisha says, putting a cookbook on the table. Albert seems disappointed. You'll be able to eat, don't worry. And in the meantime, think of this as a science experiment. So it's two of your most favorite things, Albert. I'm pretty happy until she opens the cookbook and slides it over to me. You're in charge. Of what? The recipe. What do you think? What? Is she kidding? And Albert, you can be in charge of rolling the dough. Going to try cookie dough today and see if the letters cook at a similar rate to cake. I'm freaking out over having to be in charge of the book. I'd rather be in charge of teaching cats to play hockey. And my mind spins into that mind movie. When I start laughing, Keisha asks me what I'm doing. I have to shrug. Push the picture of a goalie cat with skates and a mouth guard out of my head. Allie? Keisha pokes me. Yeah? I asked, what's the first thing? Albert appears next to me. I'd rather do the book. You want to trade, Allie? You can roll out the dough? Sure, Albert, if that's what you'd rather do. I don't mind switching. Albert begins reading the ingredients while I roll out the cookie dough. It's sticky and hard to roll. Keisha points to a package on the floor. Hey, sprinkle some on that. I manage to get the dough rolled out, but I have my doubts about all this. I look at the alphabet cookie cutter she uses to make letters. What do you want me to spell? Well, the letters are kind of big for cupcakes, so it can only be 3-letter words. Spell whatever you want. I spell cow because it's the first word I think of. Then we sand the letters up in the bottom of each cupcake mold and cover them with batter. Once Keisha slides the first batch into the oven, Albert asks, Can I have some milk? Keisha shrugs. Sure, she says, taking a glass and filling it. Albert gulps it all down and asks, May I possibly have some more? We switched to water at home. I really miss milk. She hands him the gallon. Help yourself. He sits with the milk and wraps his arm around it like he's protecting it. I laugh. You're not getting that back, Keisha. I hope you know. I have a question, Albert says after licking the milk from his lips. If you spell cow inside a cupcake, can a vegetarian eat it? Boy, Keisha says, you really take everything seriously, don't you? Hey, I turn to the oven. Is it supposed to be smoking like that? Keisha pulls on a mitt. When she opens the door, smoke fills the kitchen. The cupcakes have oozed over the tops, and the pans have fallen on the bottom of the oven. It's a mess, she groans. Oh, man. You should wait until the oven cools before you wipe it, Albert says. Keisha turns to him. Yeah, thanks, Albert. You're welcome, he says. She rolls her eyes. She's disappointed the cookie dough will not work for the letters. She and Albert figure out that the cookie dough expanded more than we thought it would, and that's why it's such a mess. But I keep thinking that whenever I write something, it turns into a big mess.